Hello, I'm Duncan and welcome back to Children and Not Small Adults. In our 5th episode today, we discuss fever. Fever is one of the most common problems in children, one of the most common reasons why parents come to the hospital. It is a cause of great concern, great fear, and it's understandable. But what is fever really? What does it mean? Where does it come from? What can we do about it? But also, most importantly, what should we not do about it? Today we dive into this topic and also demonstrate a little bit about how we can measure a child's temperature at home by yourself. Fever, to begin with, is defined as a high body temperature above 38 degrees Celsius. What are the causes of fever in children? We find that the commonest causes of fever in children are infections. But infections is such a big group of causes, and it can be broken down to viral infections, bacterial infections, it can be parasitic infections like malaria and other illnesses. There are also non-infectious causes of fever. What do we do about fevers? And what do we not do about fevers? We will start with the latter. Number 1, do not panic. Fever is a normal physiological response to an illness or to an infection. It's a normal way the body is telling us that something is wrong. Number 2, do not give the child unprescribed medication. Don't give paracetamol by yourself, or usually people want to give ibuprofen by yourself, because many of the side effects that children with fever come with sometimes are actually effects from the medication. Dosing of drugs in children is tricky, and it needs to be done by qualified personnel. And so we give the dose according to the weight of the child. If you don't know the dose per kilogram body weight, do not give the medication. Number 3, do not bathe the child repeatedly to try and reduce their fever. This does not work. And the last one, and I know this will cause a bit of an uproar, tepid sponging. Do not do tepid sponging. Yes, I know, it has been around for generations and it has been passed down. And there are still pushes and pulls as to whether we should do that. But many of the recommendations and research today suggest that tepid sponging is not worth it. So do not do it. It only makes the child uncomfortable. So what should we do instead? Number 1, you want to try and measure the temperature of your child. This is easy. We will demonstrate in a moment. Number 2, you want to be critical and think about what the other signs of this problem are. The ones we talked about at the start. What else did the child have? What other problem does the child have? Number 3, you want to expose your child or your baby. If the temperature is high and you've measured it, and you know the normal range, and you know when it's a high temperature, expose them, undress them, and just let them be. The temperature will calm down on its own. You can continue to measure it every 15 minutes or so to make sure that it's calming down. And in the meantime, arrange to get a consultation from a medical doctor or a medical health worker that is near you. Now, how do we measure the temperature of our child? There are various measures, there are various types of thermometers. If you have an infrared thermometer, you can measure in the ear or on the forehead. If you have a glass thermometer or a mercury thermometer or a digital thermometer, you can measure in the armpit or axillary. Do not measure when your child has just had a bath, and make sure that the armpit is dry. When you use a glass thermometer, before you do it, you want to shake your thermometer until the liquid is below 36 degrees Celsius. And once you've read that, you can then measure. You put the tip of the thermometer, this tip end, sometimes a bit looks silver, in the armpit. You need to check that it's really in the armpit and not going through and protruding behind. If you're using glass thermometer, you read the temperature after 3 minutes, and that is the temperature that you have. And you can repeat this after 15 minutes or so as you prepare to go to the hospital. Make sure your child has eaten or drunk something. Don't rush. If you're using a digital thermometer, you simply switch it on until it displays, and then you place the tip once again, like we've talked about, in the armpit. With a digital thermometer, it will beep, and that's when you know that it's done. Easy peasy. For questions, responses, or suggestions of topics you would like us to cover, please write us on this email below. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.